Hi, my dear residents. Welcome to the fifth video of my series of a clinical discussion in surgery. Yes, today I am going to discuss about the locally advanced carcinoma of the breast and advanced carcinoma of the breast and some of the things which are normally not seen. So this is the today's video, and with this I am going to finish off the breast cases of a discussion. Right. What are the features of a locally advanced carcinoma?
Carcinoma involving skin plus chest wall plus more than 3 axillary lymph nodes or matted lymph nodes without distant metastasis.
Yes, locally advanced carcinoma is involvement of the skin and chest wall plus matted lymph nodes or the without any distance metastasis. This lymph node should not be more than 3. If it is more than 3, then sometimes the staging will be the deferred. What are the features of a skin involvement?
Skin fixation, satellite nodules, pudgy-orange appearance, ulceration are the features.
Yes, commonly what we see is the skin fixation. This I have discussed about the dimpling and also puckering of the skin and fixation of the skin. What is the difference between the dimpling and the fixation of skin in my last videos? And regarding the presence of a satellite nodules anywhere present over the breast region. Pure orange appearance, that is orange peel appearance also will be seen as a skin infiltration of the carcinoma of the breast when the dermal, subdermal lymphatics are blocked by the malignant cells. This pudgy orange appearance may appear over the blocked area of the skin. The ulceration also, whether small or big, whatever might be, this is also suggestive of a skin involvement. What are the features of a chest wall involvement?
Fixed to intercostal muscles, ribs, serratus anterior.
Yes. Here, the involvement of the chest wall means fixed to the intercostal muscles, ribs and serratus anterior. Remember that fixity to the pectoral muscle and fascia will not be called as a fixed to the chest wall. So, a fixity to the pectoral muscle and fascia will not be included in the locally advanced carcinoma. It is still depends upon the clinical features of the tumor only. So, that is not much considered. But if it is serratus anterior, if a tumor which is lying at the lower and outer quadrant of the breast sometimes may get fixed to the serratus anterior muscle. Here the possibility we may have to stage it as a locally advanced carcinoma. So chest wall fixation will be there. So that comes under TNM staging 4A. Suppose if the serratus anterior muscle is involved, right? Yes. How the local carcinoma, lactational carcinoma differs from the other carcinomas of the breast.
It is locally advanced carcinoma from the beginning and it is aggressive cancer with poor prognosis.
Right. A lactational carcinoma may occur in 1% of the total breast carcinomas. It is from the beginning itself, it is a locally advanced carcinoma as it involves the whole of the breast and skin infiltration is a very common. Skin involvement is a very common in this, and powder orange appearance also will be seen. So, ultimately it is called as a locally advanced carcinoma from the beginning, and it is a very aggressive cancer and seen in young people with a poor prognosis. What is the objective of a treatment of a locally advanced carcinoma? What is the aim of treatment?
The aim is to prevent the local recurrences and improve the survival rate.
Good. So it is our main aim is to prevent the local recurrences and improve the survival rate in a locally advanced carcinoma. What is the treatment plan for a locally advanced carcinoma and explain it?
Neoadjuvant systemic therapy followed by either surgery or radiotherapy plus continuation of the systemic therapy is planned.
Yeah. Main thing is here because we are already this disease has been locally advanced, so we may have to prevent the local recurrence. That is the main aim of it, and improve the survival chances also. So how to prevent the local recurrence when it has already been reached to the systemically? So the thing is, you may have to give a first neoadjuvant chemotherapy has to be given at least for about 3 cycles and see their results. Here, neoadjuvant chemotherapy. Suppose if it is not working, then we may have to give a neoadjuvant hormone therapy also can be tried to downstage the tumor. That is the main thing. So suppose if it has a function, it has worked well, the neoadjuvant chemotherapy worked well, and the tumor has regressed to a operable size, then we can do the surgery, the followed by the whatever the remaining cycles of a chemotherapy has to be given, that will be given. So that is the one. Point is we have to make the tumor to be operable. So how to make it operable? The main thing is a neoadjuvant chemotherapy. A half of the cycles. That is, suppose if you are planning for about 6 cycles, 3 cycles can be given and see whether the tumor is responding or not. Tumor is regressing or not. Whether it has become operable or not. Suppose if it has not responded, we may have to go for the neoadjuvant hormone therapy if the patient is having a ER positive. But if the neoadjuvant chemotherapy has not responded, even then patient is a ER negative and the neoadjuvant chemotherapy has not given a good results, then we may have to go for the radiotherapy also to to reduce the size of the tumor. Once the radiotherapy, that means ultimately our choice being the you make the tumor to be operable. So what is the point here? Either you give a chemotherapy, neoadjuvant chemotherapy, or if the ER positive neoadjuvant hormone therapy. In case if the tumor has not responded to the neoadjuvant chemotherapy, patient is ER negative, then one can submit the patient to the radiotherapy. Almost all the tumors will respond to the radiotherapy and the size may become a operable. So once the operability has been found out, we can go ahead with our surgery. What surgery? We can do simple mastectomy. Here being the, we continue a simple mastectomy. Then again followed by, suppose if with the tumor has responded to the chemotherapy of 3 cycles, you continue the 3 cycles after surgery. That is what. Suppose if the tumor has responded to hormone therapy, you continue the hormone therapy. That is the one. So here we are having a this type of a plan for the treatment. Neoadjuvant chemotherapy, that is what I told you. Neoadjuvant chemotherapy, 3 cycles is given in a ER negative patients and a young patients and a grade 3 tumor patient in a lactational carcinoma patients and a rapidly progressive patients to see for a response. A patient who is having a ER negative also, there is a no other go, who may have to give a the systemic chemotherapy. And young patients, they can tolerate well chemotherapy. The grade 3 tumor, that is the best thing. Lactational carcinoma, young patient may be there, so that is the one. So in all these patients, it is the systemic chemotherapy of a 3 cycles can be given and see for the response. If the tumor becomes operable, simple mastectomy or a wild excision also can be done. Axillary nodes can be removed if they become mobile, because followed by a radiotherapy in these cases. If the tumor has not responded, that is what I told. Seen in nearly 40 to 60% of a case, the tumor response will not be there. So radiotherapy has to be given, followed by a surgery. And in patients with the ER positive cases, slow growing tumor, and elderly patients unfit for the chemotherapy, a neoadjuvant hormone therapy can be started, and if tumor becomes operable, mastectomy can be done and a radiotherapy also can be followed up. So that is the one. What is the role of a radiotherapy in a locally advanced breast carcinoma?
I don't know.
Radiotherapy can be given following chemotherapy or not responding to the chemotherapy, along with the hormone therapy or as an initial treatment. So I have already told you when you may have to give. You probably may think that if After surgery, after surgery, what is the need of a radiotherapy? You may think that because the recurrences are many, the chances of recurrences are having a more. So better being the you give a radiotherapy also in this type of patient. Why we are giving chemotherapy? We are making the tumor to be operable. Once the tumor has been operated, that is a debulking procedure has been done, still there is a chance of a development of a local recurrences, and in these cases it is a very high. So for that radiotherapy is a definitely indicated. What is the role of a surgery in a locally advanced breast carcinoma?
Simple mastectomy.
Yeah, simple mastectomy or a wide excision is considered if the tumor becomes operable following systemic therapy or a radiotherapy. What is the metastatic or advanced carcinoma of breast?
Carcinoma with distant metastasis, irrespective of the tumor or nodal size, nodal stage is considered as metastatic carcinoma.
Yes, metastatic or advanced carcinoma means whenever you find a distant metastasis, irrespective of the tumor or a nodal status, we call it as a advanced carcinoma or a metastatic carcinoma. What is the objective of a management of a metastatic carcinoma?
Palliation.
Yes, our objective or aim of management being the palliation is the main thing. But to improve the quality and also quantity of the life, not only just relieving of the symptoms, but improve the quality and also quantity of the life. The treatment should be effective in symptoms control and with minimal side effects, and survival rate also to be improved. That is our aim. What factors influence the management of a metastatic carcinoma?
Receptor status, menopausal status.
Yes, it differs in a premenopausal and a postmenopausal woman. It also depends upon the receptor status. It depends upon the disease-free interval after primary treatment. It depends upon the presence of a metastasis in a skeletal system or a soft tissues. It depends upon the toxicity of the drugs in the individual. Some individual may not be able to tolerate the chemotherapeutic drug such as anthracyclines, especially deoxyribonucin. So that is epirubicin. These are the drugs that sometimes may likely to have the side effects. That's the main problem. It differs also in a BRCA mutant gene cancers. What are the modalities of treatment used in metastatic carcinoma?
Systemic therapy, chemo or hormone therapy, radiotherapy, surgery.
So all the modalities can be used in treatment of the carcinoma breast, all especially in metastatic carcinoma breast, all the modalities whatever we are available they can be used. So system, but the main thing is that it is the already systemically widespread. So systemic therapy is the first line of a medication, first line of a treatment. So either chemotherapy or a hormone therapy can be given. If the patient is unable to tolerate the chemotherapy, then if the hormone therapy can be given, along with the hormone therapy, radiotherapy also can be continued to the local region, breast region. After the tumor becomes operable, the surgery can be done. How do you manage metastatic carcinoma in a premenopausal woman?
Chemotherapy, surgery, radiotherapy.
Yes, chemotherapy to be given. Among the chemotherapy, it is the anthracyclines plus toxins. So this is the best chemotherapeutic regimen which will have a better survival chances in this type of a patients. So what are the anthracyclines? Adriamycin is the commonly used, and among the toxins, it is a docetaxel can be given. 4 to 8 cycles can be given. Followed by after chemotherapy, a tilate mastectomy can be done. That is a tumor debulking procedure. Tilate mastectomy is a tumor debulking procedure if the tumor becomes operable after chemotherapy, or if the tumor has not responded to the chemotherapy or insufficiently responded, which has not become operable, radiotherapy to be given. followed by anyhow with the hormone therapy if the receptor status are positive. What is the hormonal treatment in a premenopausal metastatic cancer patient? How do they act?
Tamoxifen, it is competitive blocker.
Yeah, one of the commonly used drug being the tamoxifen. And but the thing is, you may have to have some plan regarding the hormonal treatment. The first thing is we have to suppress the ovarian function. So suppression of the ovarian function can be done by a gonadotropin releasing hormones analogs such as a gasorelin. So ovarian suppression has to be done for the to to stop the release of a ovarian hormone by a gonadotropin releasing hormones analogs. Plus, or you can do the oophorectomy. If you are unable to do this ovarian suppression, we can do simply the oophorectomy, or the estrogen receptor modulator that I have already told you, tamoxifen. That is a actually it is a competitive blockers for the in the ovary. So that what we may have to do is a in the carcinoma cells there is a competitive, it becomes a competitive blockers for the estrogen. So estrogen receptor status is there. So modulator by the tamoxifen, and ovarian suppressor plus a tamoxifen is said to be give a better results in a patient with a hormone ER positive patients. So ovarian suppression, that is a gasorelin can be along with that tamoxifen can be given. And if the patient is uh, can be sometimes after tamoxifen, suppose if it is not responding as that ovarian sub, because even the ER positive patients also may not be able to respond to the tamoxifen. Some patients, not all. But the thing is, nearly about 40% of the patients may not respond. That in that cases, ovarian suppression and aromatase inhibitors, that is letrozole, can be given. Here, gasorelin prevents the formation of the estrogen. Tamoxifen binds with the estrogen receptors of the malignant cells, blocking the estrogen to act. Because if the estrogen is received by the malignant cells, they flourish. So here tamoxifen binds with the estrogen receptors of the malignant cells, so blocking the estrogen. Aromatase inhibitors prevent the conversion of androgen to estrogen in the body fat. So that is working even for the postmenopausal woman. This way it works. It conversion of the androgens to the estrogens will be prevented by the aromatase inhibitors. What is the hormonal treatment in a postmenopausal metastatic carcinoma patient?
Aromatase inhibitor.
Right. If the patient is ER positive, we can divide like this. If the patient is ER positive, here we cannot give a tamoxifen in all the patients. That is what I told you. So aromatase inhibitors becomes a first choice of a drugs such as anastrozole and a letrozole can be given. And tamoxifen also in a perimenopausal woman we can try if the patient is unable to tolerate the aromatase inhibitor, the tamoxifen also can be given. The progestin, medroxyprogesterone acetate and fulvestrant also are tried in the cases of a ER positive postmenopausal woman. If the patient is ER negative, then we have got a choice only the chemotherapy and a radiotherapy followed by a toilet mastectomy. But in ER negative, if the HER2 receptors are positive, then trastuzumab can be given. Anti-monoclonal antibody can be given. So, in patients with the ER negative, the chances of giving the hormonal treatment will be very much limited or null. How do you manage BRCA mutant gene breast cancers?
I don't know.
Yeah, these are aggressive. Some of them are triple negative receptor having a triple negative receptor status, and they are multicentric invasive tumors in a young woman with a family history of a first degree relative suffering from the carcinoma of breast or ovarian carcinoma prior to menopause. These women, even before the age of 35 years, are to be screened with the ultrasonography or and MRI also regularly. If ER positive, a prophylactic, if the patient is ER positive, BRCA, this BRCA mutant gene cancer patient who is having a ER positive, some patient I told you, 85% of them, sometimes they become a ER positive, 15% of them normally they are patients are ER negative. But in these BRCA patients, the receptor negative status will be more. But receptor positive patients also will be there. In those patients, prophylactic tamoxifen for about 5 years are useful to prevent the carcinoma. So this is a chemoprophylaxis. So in BRCA mutant gene breast carcinoma, a chemoprophylaxis is a tamoxifen 20 milligrams to be given for about 5 years. That acts as a chemoprophylaxis. In a patient with a ER negative, the prophylactic bilateral oophorectomy with a breast bilateral mastectomy with a breast reconstruction is advocated. So, to prevent that, prophylactic bilateral mastectomy with a breast reconstruction is advocated. Prophylactic oophorectomy is also done. In some patients, the modified radical mastectomy plus a chemotherapy and a radiotherapy are treatment in patients with the cancer detected on screen. The prophylactic bilateral mastectomy is done only in those patients where there are on screening no malignancy has detected. But in those patients where on screening there is a malignancy has been detected, those patients has to undergo modified radical mastectomy because the whole of the breast tissue and axillary tissue has to be removed in these patients. And chemotherapy and radiotherapy are the treatment. The local recurrences are more common after breast conservative surgery. So even though it is a very small and it is not advocated in the BRCA mutant gene cancer patients. So breast conservative surgery is not advocated in this patient. The best thing being the modified radical mastectomy followed by a chemotherapy and a radiotherapy or the treatment gives a better survival chances with these patients. What is Paget's disease? How do you manage?
I don't know.
Paget's disease is a intraepithelial neoplasia starts in the nipple region. When it is confined to nipple without any tumor in the breast, it is considered as a carcinoma in situ. If there is a tumor associated with it, then as per the tumor clinical feature, that is what about its size and how whether it is fixed to the skin or underlying stress, like that we go ahead. So depend as per the tumor clinical features, staging of the disease will be done. If there is a tumor associated with it, the tumor, as per the tumor clinical feature, the staging of the disease will be done. The management also will be followed as per that. If the patient is having a only intraepithelial carcinoma, no tumor, Paget's disease with a no tumor is there, the breast conservative surgery, that is a removal of the nipple and areola with 1 millimeter wide, 1 millimeter wide nowadays, not 1 centimeter wide. It is 1 millimeter wide healthy breast tissue along with that can be removed, followed by the radiotherapy in patients with or without tumor when there is no contraindication for the breast conservative surgery. So, a patient who is having a Paget's disease confined to the nipple or a very small tumor which is just behind the nipple associated with a breast conservative surgery also can be planned plus radiotherapy also given in this type of patient. If the patient is having only the Paget's disease confined to the nipple without tumor, that patient also should have to undergo the breast conservative surgery and followed by the radiotherapy. So ultimately the treatment will be if the possible breast conservative surgery, it can be done in a Paget's disease when it is confined to the nipple or the tumor is small enough, where breast conservative surgery can be done. Suppose in the presence of a tumor, there is a contraindication to the breast conservative surgery. So at that time, a modified radical mastectomy is planned. The adjuvant therapy is planned depends upon the tumor status. Suppose if the patient is having a tumor, but there are contraindications for the breast conservative surgery that I have discussed in my last video. So if there are any contraindications is there for the breast conservative surgery, in that situation, a modified radical mastectomy is planned. Adjuvant therapy, chemotherapy or hormonotherapy is planned depends upon the tumor status. It, what are the features of a inflammatory carcinoma?
Brani induration of skin.
Yes, there is a brani induration of the skin with or without a deep-seated mass in an young woman, mimicking like a mastitis but not responding to the antibiotics. This is the main problem. The patient is in a young woman, sometimes the breastfeeding woman, lactational. That's why it is known as a lactational carcinoma also or inflammatory carcinoma also. This patient has come to the hospital with the features of a all acute mastitis, but it will not be responding to the antibiotics or a conservative management. There is a no abscess has been formed. Under that circumstance, and it is of a rapidly growing situation. Within 3 to 4 weeks, it rapidly involves whole of the breast, and brani induration of the skin is seen. And in that situation, a ultrasonogram, which sometimes mass may be associated with a microcalcification, to some extent suggestive of it. Under ultrasound guidance, a core biopsy from the mass may be confirmative. Some, if not, MRI may show sometimes mass with a calcification. With the MRI, we can make it out a skin thickening is noticed wherever there is a brani induration of the skin is noticed. It is an invasive carcinoma with a emboli in the dermal lymphatics and a vascular channel. Main problem is this is an invasive carcinoma with a already emboli reaching to the dermal lymphatics and the vascular vessels, and it is a grade 3 type of a carcinoma, and ERPR may be negative with a HER2 receptor status may be positive with the presence of a P53 protein. So this is the status, ERPR status. So that gives rise to a bad prognosis. ERPR may be negative, HER2 receptor may be positive. In these cases, it is difficult to confirm the diagnosis, but how do you confirm the diagnosis?
Confirmation can be done by punch biopsy of 2 to 8 millimeters pushed vertically into the most brani skin.
Yes, a punch biopsy. It has to be a punch biopsy of a 2 to 8 millimeters of the skin. Along with that, it will be pushed into the it will push it vertically into the most brani induration, and it has to be taken out a core of a tissue. So that is the one can be done. What is the treatment?
Chemotherapy plus surgery.
Inflammatory carcinoma or a lactational carcinoma is a locally advanced carcinoma by the time it is already confirmed. The treatment is a neoadjuvant chemotherapy followed by a simple mastectomy and completion of the remaining cycles of a chemotherapy, plus a radiotherapy and a targeted therapy, that is a trastuzumab also can be given. So here, after completion of the chemotherapy, radiotherapy and targeted therapy also can be given, because usually these patients will be ERPR negatives. The hormone therapy can be given if the receptors are positive. What is the prognosis in this patient?
5 years survival rate varies from 40 to 65%, depends on the involvement of the lymph node.
Yes. So that's why it is an aggressive carcinoma. 5-year survival rate drops down to 40 to 65%, just like a locally advanced carcinoma occurring in a young patient. How do you treat bony metastasis?
Radiotherapy.
Yes. external beam irradiation to the bony region where metastasis has occurred. Plus, if there is a fracture, the fixation, orthopedic fixation has to be done. The hormone therapy is effective in 65% of the ER positive patients. How do you treat vertebral metastasis with a spinal compression?
I don't know.
The vertebral compression, decompression has to be done. Otherwise, it will be continuously compressing the spinal cord. So, vertebral decompression has to be done with the plate fixation, then followed by the hormone therapy to be done. If surgery is not possible in these patients where you cannot do vertebral decompression, plate fixation because of the old age or because of other problems, because already this patient is a advanced carcinoma patient. So under those circumstances, we may have to give a steroids so that local edema effect will be less. So steroids plus you can give radiotherapy plus hormone therapy also can be given to us to give at least symptomatic relief. What is the treatment for a brain metastasis?
Corticosteroids plus radiotherapy. In single metastasis, surgery is one of the options.
Right. In a brain metastasis, that means almost it is a local, it is advanced carcinoma. So these patients may have to receive the corticosteroids so that at least the patient edema of the brain will be decreased and the radiotherapy also can be given. So the some palliation will occur. What is the treatment for a liver metastasis?
Treatment is by chemotherapy in premenopausal women. In ER positive postmenopausal women, aromatase inhibitors are effective.
Yes. In a liver metastasis, usually soft tissue tumors, they should receive soft tissue metastasis, they should receive a chemotherapy, and a skeletal metastasis, they should receive the hormone therapy because they are effective there, and in soft tissues, chemotherapy is effective. What is the treatment for a lung metastasis?
Chemotherapy and symptomatic therapy
Right,
treatment.
right. So in a lung metastasis, again it is a soft tissue metastasis, so chemotherapy has to be given and symptomatic treatment as per the requirement. Suppose pleural effusion is there, it may have to be completely, the fluid has to be drainage, tube drainage has to be given, plus fluorodesis has to be planned with a tetracyclines or a bleomycin or a chalk. We can plan a fluorodesis. So depends upon that. Similarly, if the lungs have gone, lymphangiectasis, where it causes a breathlessness. So in the cases of pulmonary lymphangiectasis, so lymphatics are involved in the cases of a lung metastasis. So the patient may have a breathlessness. So that patient symptomatic relief bronchodilator corticosteroids can be added to that and along with the chemotherapy, whatever feasibility we can give. What is the cell of pili tumor? We are taking up today now is the pili tumor. What is the cell of origin in pili tumor?
Pili tumor arises from the stromal tissue of breast.
Yes, it arises from the not from the glandular tissue. It arises from the stromal tissue of the breast. That one may have to remember. It is not from the glandular tissue, it is a stromal tissue. So naturally, it behaves like a sarcoma if it turns into the malignancy. So pili tumors need not be always sarcoma. Only 30% of them may turn into the sarcoma and 40% of them definitely benign and remaining 30% of it they are equivocal. Sometimes benign turned into malignancy. So in a patient, a 30% only may turn into malignancy, 40% are definitely benign and borderline variety being the 30%. What are the clinical features of pili tumor?
Rapidly growing giant fibroadenoma.
Yeah, it presents like a rapidly growing giant fibroadenoma in a young, not a young, so young patient. It is usually seen between in the third or fourth decade of the patient because fibroadenomas normally seen in a young girls, first, usually seen in the teenage girls or in the 20s. But the thing is that this pili tumor is observed mainly in the third decade or a fourth decade of the patient and it is a rapidly growing tumor. To attain a large size, it will not remain stable. And consistency also will be a variable. somewhere it is soft, somewhere it will be firm also. But one thing is a skin is not infiltrated, skin is not involved. So fixity of the skin will not be seen in these cases. However, rapidly it is growing, it will not. But in malignant changes, it can involve the underlying structures such as pectoral fascia and a muscle. And the veins over the breast are dilated in cases of malignant change. So, in late cases, tumor gets ulcerated also, but skin is not adherent to the ulcerated area. Whereas in a normal carcinoma, suppose a breast carcinoma, when it has become ulcerated and it is adherent to the, that skin is adherent to the underlying structure. But here in phylloid tumor, even though it is ulcerated, skin is not adherent to the underlying structure. That is the main difference. So you can pass a probe underneath of the skin to see whether it has been fixed to the underlying structure or not. You can just pass a probe at the edge of the ulcer. In cases of a phylloid tumor, you can easily, skin can be raised away from the underlying structure. Whereas if it is a carcinoma, because there will be doubt, patient is coming with a big ulcerative mass and this could be a locally advanced breast carcinoma here, or it could be a simple malignant phylloid tumor. So one may have to differentiate. Both are presenting with a ulceration. In cases of a phylloid tumor, it is a skin is not adhering to the underlying structure. A probe can be passed easily all around the edge. Whereas in a carcinoma of breast, the skin is definitely ulcer. It is under in the ulcer carcinoma of breast ulcer. The skin is definitely fixed to the underlying structure. Probe cannot be passed at the edge beneath the skin. How do you confirm the diagnosis?
Core biopsy and excisional biopsy.
Right, here being the, we can take a core biopsy, or sometimes if it is a, even with the core biopsy you may not be get a correct picture, we can do excisional biopsy to get a clear picture. What is the treatment in phylloid tumor?
Wide excision or simple mastectomy.
Yes, wide depends upon the tumor size, either it is a wide excision or it can be sometimes simple mastectomy can be done. In malignant, in a suspected case of a malignant phylloid tumor, that I have already told you, that the veins will become a very much engorged over the surface of the breast, and also sometimes ulceration may be noticed. So in and rapidly growing tumor, that is there. So in all this situation, when you suspect malignancy in phylloid tumor, and sometimes it will also get a infiltrate in malignant phylloid tumor, the infiltrated muscles also get infiltrated. Suppose if it has fixed to the underlying pectoral muscle, that means it is a more suggestive of a malignant tumor, whereas a benign tumor will not be fixed to the underlying muscle. So malignant tumor will more likely to get fixed to the underlying muscle. So under that circumstances, we may have to do, even if it is muscle also has been infiltrated, it has to be excised along with the mastectomy. Here mastectomy will done, but muscle also has to be excised along with the mastectomy. And radiotherapy may be to some extent useful, but not completely. Chemotherapy and hormone therapy may not be much useful. But how it spreads?
By contiguity, pectoral muscle and fascia. By blood spread, distant organs such as bones and lungs, etc. are involved.
Yes, it spreads by the blood and also by contiguity. By contiguity, it is a deeper underlying structure such as the pectoral muscle and fascia. That is why I told you, when the pectoral muscle and fascia are involved, that can be excised along with a simple mastectomy. The lymph nodes are not involved. Even if the lymph nodes are enlarged, they are not metastatic. Even the lymph nodes are not involved because it behaves like a sarcoma. So a blood spread is a common in this. So distant organs such as bones and the lungs are involved in these cases. So thank you. I have finished today regarding the clinical discussions which commonly be faced by the resident during the examination and the breast diseases, among the breast diseases. So clinical discussions in the breast diseases have been finished with this, and I may have to start the next video series, that is the next series on a obstructive jaundice. I am going to start and I am going to put up that videos one after another. So thank you very much for your patient hearing.